Welcome to Love in Life, a guide to a positive mindset. My aim is to show you that the key to a happier and more positive mind is to love the life you have. We will look at tips and tools you can use to improve your mindset, and the best thing is, we'll all be on this journey together. Hi everyone, how are you all doing? I've got to be honest, you're going to have to excuse me today because I woke up this morning feeling a little bit dizzy. I think is where I'm tired. It's almost like my head doesn't feel attached to my body. I'm just feeling very tired. There seems to be so much going on at the moment. I'm sure everybody else feels the same, kind of following on from what we talked about last week, and how Christmas is just absolutely manic. But yeah, I feel like I'm splitting myself in so many different directions at the moment. I'm trying to do some really lovely things. Like, as I told you last week, I had some really lovely things planned in last week, which was absolutely wonderful. But I have found that I am the most unorganized I have ever been in my whole life this Christmas. I've hardly bought any presents, which at this moment in time, I don't think my kids will be very happy with. And I just, like I said, I feel like I'm splitting myself in so many different directions at the moment. I'm obviously trying to grow my business as well, which I'm really focusing on. I'm putting a lot of focus into that. But it's almost like I'm trying to juggle so many different things that I don't feel like I'm doing any of it effectively. Does that make sense? I don't want it to sound like all it's been is stress, because that is just not true at all. I have had the loveliest day with my mum and my sister when we went for the spa day, and we had a really lovely meal in a pub after. And then Thursday and Friday, Craig and I went to London to celebrate a really key milestone for him in his career. So that was really, really lovely. And we decided to spend the night there in London. So we had 2 days there, just walking through the Christmas markets. We didn't really do a lot else, but it was just lovely. It's just what I love to do, We spent all of Saturday afternoon running around, getting the boys new sports gear because they've started hockey this week at school in preparation for their hockey lessons next term. So yeah, there's been very little time for going to the gym, I've got to be honest, which is part of my routine. And I always feel that when I don't stick to my routine, I always feel a little bit out of sorts. Even though I've been doing some really lovely things, I just feel like there's so much to do. And I thought this would be a good thing to share with you today because I'm obviously always going on about being positive about things and not focusing on negative. But obviously, I just want to point out that I have stressful times as well. Like, we're all human. So I thought today, whilst I'm feeling like this, it's probably a good day to talk about it. So as you feel a little bit more human when you feel like this as well. But before I go on with today's episode, I just want to remind you about what I've got going on at the moment. I've now decided on a time for my workshop 2023, the year of me, to take place. And so it's going to be on the 29th of December, like I said before, and it's going to be at 3 p.m. And the reason why I've decided on this time, like personally, I'd probably rather do it in the morning, but I did have some people from the US showing interest in joining, which I'm so super grateful for. So I'm going to do it at 3 p.m. and that just means that those people who wanted to join from the US can do so, and it'll be the morning over there for you guys. But like I said before, it really, really doesn't matter whether you can join it at that time or not, because there will be a replay. And whilst it does mean that you won't be able to ask me any questions live, you obviously, of course, can message me with any of your questions. As I explained before, this is only £20 to take part in this workshop, which is an absolute bargain. I'm not going to go over the details again, how this changed my life doing this exercise last year, but I achieved so much this year and I want the same for you guys. So £20 is an absolute bargain. Also, whilst we're talking about the price, if you're struggling to think of a gift for a friend and you would normally spend about £20 on them, then why not gift them a place on my workshop? If they're the kind of person like you who might be ambitious and might be really positive and wants to set goals, wants to achieve things, then why not give them a place on my workshop? If that's the case, if you do feel like that's something you'd like to do, please do let me know. You can either buy an extra place and then just message me and I can add the other person to the group. Just let me know. The more the merrier. So this is now live and you can buy tickets now. That's so exciting. I can't believe I'm saying that. Right. The other thing I wanted to remind you about is my free 3-day challenge, which is taking part on the 4th, 5th and 6th of January. And this is just a little way for you to introduce a morning routine or, work with me to introduce a morning routine. And it's also a little bit of an introduction into my Good Morning membership club, just in case you want to sort of test it out and give it a go before you commit to the membership. I mean, even then, the membership, like I said before, there's no obligation to stay more than a month or however long you need. So, yeah. Okay, and the next thing I've got going on is a giveaway on Instagram. And if you haven't seen this, then do go and have a look. I've pinned it to the top of my grid on my page. And what I want you to do is just like the post, follow my page, which I'm hoping you already do, and tag somebody in it who you think would love my podcast. And head over to that post, read the details on that post for details of bonus entries. And then, and I better tell you what I'm giving away actually, hadn't I? I'm giving away a 1-hour coaching session, and this is to take place in January. So this giveaway will run up until the 31st of December, so midnight, New Year. And the 1-hour coaching session will take place in January. And then the final thing that I want to let you know about, which is coming soon in January, is my one-to-one coaching. So if you have listened to all my episodes, then you will know that this year I have closed down my wedding cake business, which wasn't in alignment with me anymore. And I have retrained as a life coach. So I feel that I have got very good experience personal experience to help people who are going through that cycle of life. You know, we've said before about the different cycles that we go through in life. It's completely natural to come to the end of a cycle. So if you're at that point where you've come to the end of a cycle and you're not really sure where to go next, or if something just doesn't feel right to you and you know that you need to do something to feel more in alignment with yourself and just to feel happier in yourself, then that's where I can help you and help you explore the opportunities that you have. And also talking about cycles in our lives, I'm probably, if I'm honest, coming up to that certain part of my monthly cycle where you feel tired and can't be bothered to do anything and everything gets on top of you. So again, I'm just here to point out that we all feel like shit when this happens. And I am absolutely no different, even though I bang on about positivity all the time. In light of how I'm feeling today, it seems like a really good time to talk about taking pressure off yourself when you feel particularly busy. And I kind of brushed on this last week when I was talking about, it was like my Christmas episode last week, and how to get yourself through Christmas. And I kind of brushed past this a little bit. I focused on time blocking, but actually, whilst that is really good advice, I have thought more about this, and I want to emphasize the importance of taking the pressure off yourself. So, like I said, last week, I only managed 2 sessions in the gym. And usually I have a minimum of 3 sessions in the gym. And this is just my example. You might have something else that you usually have as part of your routine. But when you're feeling particularly busy and a little bit stressed, you struggle to find time to fit certain things in, which you normally would. But I spent all week thinking, when am I going to fit all these sessions in? And that's when I thought to myself, give yourself a little bit of slack. Like, it's Christmas. It's a busy time of year. Or whatever time of year you're listening to this. We all have busy periods throughout the year. But right now it's Christmas, so that's what I'm talking about. But it's a busy time of year. I've got lots of lovely things planned. What do I want to prioritise? This lovely week of lovely things planned, making memories, or do I want to focus on stressing and putting pressure on myself for keeping up my routine? And sometimes we just have to remember to put things into perspective. I really, really love Christmas. And I know this sounds a bit obvious, but the other day I realised that if we live to 80, we've only got 80 opportunities to celebrate Christmas. Like, I want to make the most of every single one of those opportunities. And obviously, as there are seasons with everything and cycles of everything, you have cycles of celebrating Christmas throughout your life. So like the first quarter of your Christmases are when you're a kid or when you're living with your parents. And then you go through a phase of maybe having a few Christmases on your own. Then you go through having a cycle of having Christmases as a parent, which is completely different again. And then you have periods of Christmas when you're maybe a grandparent, or, you know, when you go back to not having any children around again. And given that my eldest is 13, so this will be like my 14th Christmas as a parent, and with George being 11, I've probably realistically only got another 8 or 9 Christmases left with children at home. So I want to make the most of every single one of those, and I'm not going to let my daily routine get in the way of that, because not only is my aim to make memories for my kids, but it's also to make memories for myself as well. So it's really important to cherish every cycle that you're in, because you don't know how long you're going to be in it for. So like if you're in the phase of in between being at home with your parents, you know, as a child, having fun, exciting Christmases when you haven't got the pressure of providing everything for everybody. If you're in between that and having your own children, then make the most of it, because when you start having children, it gets a lot more expensive and it gets even more stressful. But at the same time, it's a lot more exciting again, because you're then creating memories for your children. So that's what I mean. Like there's some really, really lovely things about every single cycle that you're in when it comes to celebrating Christmas or whatever festival you celebrate. It's so important that you allow yourself to enjoy and cherish these times if you enjoy them. Not everybody does, I know, but if you do, enjoy and cherish it. And you must prioritize what is truly important to you as an individual. However, as you know, I am a firm believer in habits. and I'm a firm believer in routine. So how do we allow ourselves to take the pressure off whilst not completely letting go of our habits and routines? Because we all know how hard it is to get back into that particular habit once you've let it go. So quite often, if we have a week off, or if you have a week's holiday, how hard it is to get yourself back into a routine when you've had a break. So whether that's going to the gym or running or getting up at a particular time of the day, it's really difficult to get back into it once you've let it completely slip. So I think it's all about giving yourself some flexibility. If you're particularly busy, allow yourself to drop, a workout a week. If you're like me, go to the gym 3 times a week, allow yourself to go twice a week. But rather than, like I did last week, trying to put pressure on yourself to get there that third time, actually give yourself permission. Like, say at the beginning of the week, it's going to be busy, or even if you don't know it's going to be busy, obviously things crop up on us at this time of year without us knowing. But, go into this period thinking it's okay if I only go twice a week. That's absolutely fine. Like, it's more important that you do continue to go rather than get yourself so stressed that you're not going at all and then have to start building that habit and that routine again. You're better off allowing yourself and giving yourself permission to miss one of your sessions. Like, work out something that fits with you, that makes sense to you. So if you're the kind of person, very unlike me, that runs 5K every day or something like that, then either do it 3 times a week, or maybe if you still want to go out every day, then maybe just do half of that, because then you're at least then you're freeing up extra time in your day to do the other things that you need to do. Similarly, and I'm sure many of us can relate to this, but if you've got yourself in a really good habit of, eating healthier, and you don't want to put on too many holiday pounds over Christmas, then obviously there's 2 ways that you could go about this. There's a number of ways you could go about this, but there's 2 extreme ways you could go about this. You could either stick to your healthy eating and watch everybody else indulge in all the things you love and completely miss out on it. Or the extreme of that is you could completely forget your healthy eating and indulge in everything. And either way, for the majority of people, either of those are not particularly fun. So how do you take the pressure off yourself here? Well, obviously you could alternate having a healthy day, having an indulgent day. You could allow yourself a few extra 100 calories a day, so as you can just indulge a little bit more. There's many ways you can do it. It doesn't have to be one extreme to the other for the majority of people. It's all about finding a healthy balance that feels good to you and just takes the pressure off yourself a little bit. Something else I've been finding, where I'm just running about so much and doing so much, I'm finding getting up early in the morning is quite difficult for me at the moment. And you all know that I usually get up at 5 o'clock. But this week, I've allowed myself to get up just a little bit later, like 5:30. It just gives me that extra little bit of time in bed. But it also gives me enough time to, when I do get up, to just complete my morning routine. Even if I have to shorten a few things to fit it all in, it still means that I've got time to do it before everybody else gets up. So it really is all about finding a happy medium and just ways to take the pressure off yourself, so as you don't end up stressing out and feeling guilty, which I think is quite a female energy. We put so much pressure on ourselves, and then we feel guilty when we don't do those things, or when we struggle to do those things. So when I say happy medium, I do mean, like, if I was to think to myself, right, fuck it, I'm not going to get up at 5 o'clock this morning. I'm just going to sleep until I wake up and then end up getting up at 6:30, 7 o'clock. I am going to feel guilty then, and it's just going to make me feel like shit. So just by allowing myself that little bit of flexibility, so getting up a little bit later, I've got the best of both worlds then. And I'm still getting up early enough to, like I said, to do my morning routine, but not late enough where I'm breaking the habit that I've spent so long forming. So at busy times of the year, in particular Christmas, we need to find a way to take the pressure off, not add to it. So with that in mind, I am going to allow myself to make this a shorter episode today. I'm going to practice what I preach and allow myself to take the pressure off. So I do hope this episode helps, because we're probably all feeling it. Blimey, I can't tell you the relief I feel actually after deciding that I'm going to do that. It feels absolutely amazing. So please do give that a go this week. Like, if you find that you're putting pressure on yourself to do something that really, you could look at it and you could maybe take some time away from it, or you could maybe shorten it, do that. Take the pressure off yourself. Be good to yourself. Have an absolutely amazing week, guys. By this time next week, when you hear from me, I will have completed my final wedding cake. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to feel about that at the moment. I'm wondering how the hell I'm going to fit it in, but there we go. I'm sure I will. Christmas shopping, on the other hand, who knows? But yeah, mixed feelings about that, but I need to focus on what it means, what it represents. The fact that is my last wedding cake means that this is the start of a whole new journey for me, and I am so excited about that. So as always, if you've got any questions, in particular about my 2023 workshop, which I just think I literally cannot wait to go into New Year knowing what my goals for next year are going to be, because how amazing is that going to be? Like, seeing in the new year, focusing, manifesting what we've already decided we're going to achieve. Like, how amazing is that going to be? So I hope to see lots of you signing up to do it with me. Obviously, you've got until like the day to do that. So obviously that's going to be the 29th of December, but please don't leave it too late. I'd love to see you signing up today. Have a great week, guys. Thanks again so much for listening. I appreciate you all. Bye.